We are future archaeologists who have uncovered your game, Dragonage or Regenes, and have sent this message back in time as we play it to review it. None of that is true, except for the part where we're playing Dragon Age. I am Jim.
And I am Ryan.
And this is the first episode of our Let's Play, so we're going to go through Dragon Age and start a new game. And apparently these loading screens are really bad on the Xbox. We're playing on PC.
Take a while. I mostly played on the Xbox, and yeah, they can take a while.
I love the reference to the Threnodies that you have no frame of reference to at all. You have no idea what that means.
But it is the hubris of men which brought the darkspawn into
And you have to put the 813 in there because...
Yeah, well, because you need a specific citation for that fictional book that you're citing.
Yeah, I mean, what if it was the 212 or...
I do love the art style for this, though. That sort of manuscript illumination, stained glass.
It lends it an air of history to it.
Although now you've got games that are doing this art style throughout the entire thing.
Yeah, which doesn't actually lend an air of history to it. It lends an air of we were too cheap to make cutscenes, and here's some concept art.
Well, I don't know. I was thinking of something like essentially the Metatron or...
Kingdoms were the first to fall. And from the deep roads, the darkspawn drove at us again.
Why are they dragging them?
Until finally we neared...
Where are they taking that guy?
You know, back a bit.
Back at... Oh no, they're his friends. Okay, that makes more sense now. So it's been a long, long time since I watched this cutscene.
Now, why they couldn't just have him stand up first and then walk back is maybe a good question. Or what knocked him down? That gate seems like it's been boarded up for a while.
He was just having a sleep.
Okay.
Warriors and mages, barbarians and kings. The Grey Wardens sacrificed everything to stem the tide of darkness and prevail.
I will say that the cinematics in this are interesting enough that I do just want to sort of sit there and watch them.
They are kind of fascinating. Although, after a certain point, it's really hard to tell who's doing what, unless they're a dwarf.
Yes. I mean, well, because you only have one sort of human-shaped model for each gender.
And once they get soaked in blood, they all just kind of look the same.
And let's face it, this Dragon Age, everything is soaked in blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you are one of the 10 people in the world who hasn't played Dragon Age and you're watching this, if I'm playing and if I'm doing it properly, we will always look like we've just attacked and brutally murdered the Kool-Aid Man. Always.
Yes.
This guy is doing it wrong. You can tell by how clean he is. Now look at him. He's ready to go and have a civil conversation with some folks.
On the other hand, it is an impressive beard.
I do like that beard. We're going to have a beard.
As a matter of fact, that might be the only impressive beard in the game not on a dwarf.
Well, we're going to fix that. I think we're going to be a dwarf. But we'll get into that in a second because we have the most important part of the game right here. Yes. Okay. For a second, I was worried that it wasn't going to come up and that it would be totally disappointing. So you've got three races, which is humans, elves, and dwarves. I like what they did with elves, where elves are this sort of enslaved underclass rather than being the noble protectors of everything and so on and so forth. And you got three classes, which is your typical warrior, rogue, and mage. Mage is the most interesting one because it actually gets to do things that aren't hit stuff with other stuff. Rogue is kind of fun, but I'm going to play a warrior because I'm a jerk. Oh, and I'm going to be a dwarf because I can have a beard. What do you think? Commoner or noble?
Well, that kind of depends on how much of a jerk you want to be.
Noble then. Okay. I like that it has half a dozen origin stories. The only thing I found disappointing was that the mage one. I played a mage on my first playthrough, and it's there's only one for mages, and it makes sense within the context of the game, but it gets a little annoying that you can't. And there's mods for that, but we're gonna play through with no mods because I mean just to make it an honest playthrough. That is a pretty impressive beard. Let's see if we can do better. If you're watching this, you might want to go get a drink or something. We're going to be at this for about 3 hours. So this whole week is going to be character creation until we get exactly the character that we want.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need some.
Fortunately, the
eyebrows.
sliders aren't quite that. I mean, this isn't Oblivion here, where you could actually do that.
I don't talk about Oblivion.
I may have spent 5 hours making an Oblivion character once, but
What can I do to my nose? I need a giant nose.
there's definitely sliders for making it bigger.
Oh hell yeah!
This is not as big as a dwarven nose gets.
Just gonna max everything out. There we go. Look at that.
That is a Schnozz.
It is. You can't adjust his jaw. Oh, and I could have giant ears. And a huge
ears?
neck.
Yeah, the ears never seem to really do much, and the neck on the dwarf is not as noticeable, because I don't think dwarves have necks.
You're probably right. But I do like my giant nose.
It is
And
impressive.
we will reflect that in my name. We could be Big Nose Iduken. You don't. Yeah, it's neat that you have a last name so that people will refer to you, and they sort of get around that and let you pick a character name, but at the same time have characters refer to you. Sort of like what they did in Mass Effect. We could be Big Nose, but we'll be a little posh. Cyrano Iduken.
Naturally.
Naturally. All right. Next, what do we got? Stats. 6 stats, and we only care about
3 of them. Well,
yeah, pretty much. I'm going to be a tank warrior, so I'm going to focus on dex stacking because I'm a nerd. And we're just going to take more combat stuff. I should say, I like that you can get any skill with any class, but at the same time, there's this sort of upper limit skill that that warriors and rogues have, that you have to take this skill or you can't advance your powers. And that is highly annoying.
and even for mages, it's recommended that you take that one.
Eventually, yeah, but you can focus on the plot advancement persuasion skill first, at least.
That's true.
All right, so we're gonna go for shield wall eventually, and we're gonna play on normal, which will be a nice change, but it will also allow me to screw around a bit more. I played through on Nightmare, and it was pretty hard, but never enter battle with your bare hands.
That's just good advice in general,
Well,
not just for a game.
depends on the game you're playing or who you are. I mean, Bruce Lee enters battle with his bare hands.
Deep beneath the
Technically, he answered
mountains sits
no,
the
he uses nunchucks all the time.
wonder of two known remaining dwarven
Fair
cities
enough,
in the
but he
world.
enters the battle with bare hands.
Well, okay, but that's only because he can summon nunchucks.
No,
By
That's
tunnels
fair.
called deep roads, which stretched thousands of miles.
Yeah, so the dwarves live in this underground city where they're totally cut off for the most part from from interaction with the upper world, which makes them pretty much like any dwarves in any other setting.
Secure in Orzammar's impregnable construction,
Slightly more
noble houses
xenophobic.
continue their centuries-old
Yeah, that's
power
fair, that's fair.
struggles.
But to be fair,
Assassination
everyone in Dragon Age is a bit more of an asshole than typical in fantasy.
I feel like that's an appropriate characterization of Dragon Age, of the Dragon Age world. You know, what is it called? Thedas or something.
Yeah, Thetis, I believe it's
Yeah.
usually pronounced. But
Thetis. Like Middle Earth, only with slightly more assholes.
Our first military commission, the opening move towards real power in the ever-changing game of dwarven politics.
So we've apparently just gotten our
Greetings,
first
my lord.
military
You are dressed and
commission.
ready. Excellent. I
They
couldn't
don't
find
just stand there
Rhinoof's magic
dumbfounded.
dagger, but I scrounged up a rather fancy longsword. Do you
Because
wish to
that's
bring
how a
shield
prince
for the
reacts.
noble's feast?
Do I wish to wear my shield?
well, you are tanking.
Yeah. Better safe than sorry.
Certainly, you'll cut an imposing picture out there. Of course, if every other noble has a shield and 3 swords, you'll feel awfully
Also-
embarrassed.
Go ahead.
Well, it's a feast full of dwarven nobles. Someone's going to try to stab you.
Probably. Also, it's time to be a dick to that
Sorry,
guy.
my lord. The
Don't make fun of this
festivities
guy.
will
But no, I was going to say also note that all dwarves smoke 3 packs a day.
Of course. Moving on to business
Especially
again.
the women.
The king expects you to make an appearance at the feast.
I don't actually remember that. Is that
The
seriously?
noble family heads will spend hours boring
Well,
their father
some of them.
with petty grievances.
Ooh.
Barda, anyway.
Things I. My little family had. I don't care.
As part of
I
his
care about the
instructions,
plot of the
he gives an
game,
option for
but
members of the merchant caste
because it's
who wish to
interesting.
support
But I care about the macro plot with the
Lord
darkspawn, all the
Harrowmont
little
has also
stuff.
opened up
I
the
mean,
provings for
and
two
to
warriors
be fair,
with their
there's
medals
a lot of
for
really
tomorrow's
rich
battle. Perhaps we
setting
should go
stuff
show them
with the
what
game
single
that's going on
combat is
in
really
that
all
way,
about.
and we're gonna do some of it.
I mean,
But
you. I'll practice my
I don't
shooting.
think we're gonna have time for all of it. I don't think anybody wants to watch all of it. So let's go to the
Could do dramatic
proving.
readings of the Codex, but
We'll save that for a bonus episode. And by we'll save that for a bonus episode, I mean, no, we're not going to do that.
aw,
So, I've got a whole bunch of stuff coming up from the DLC. I have all the DLCs except for, I think, Witch Hunt.
so you get filled with just new quests
Yep.
and new codexes.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I was going to talk to you, but fine. Fine. We're just going to go out here and try not to be lost in the Dwarven Palace of Dwarfington. I seriously have no idea where I am. Oh, but I'm apparently going the right way.
There is a handy thing on the minimap.
There's some kind of quest. Yeah. There's stuff.
You sure you want to go to the feast now? I doubt we can escape to see the
And
provings once
apparently a
it's
really
done.
good map.
Oh.
Wow, I should have played on the PC version.
What did you play through on?
Xbox.
Ah.
Wait to see who's
That
fighting
is
today.
far less useful.
Yeah, I push my M key and I get this little map that shows me everything around me, and so in there is the feast, and we don't want to go to the feast. We're going to go to the provings. And right click on a foe to attack. Use a talent like pinning shot or I will say that most of these tips are actually reasonably
Your
useful,
father has allowed the merchant
which is a
to
credit,
freely
as opposed
use that
to
for
I remember playing World of Warcraft and you get things like use potions to not die.
To be fair, that's actually pretty good advice.
I just want to go hit people in the face. What?
Requires that you attend our King Father at the feast today. Have you so little respect for him to disregard his wishes on a day set aside for you?
Lord Harrowmont told me we wouldn't be needed for hours at least.
Silence. If I want the opinion of my sibling's second, I will ask for it.
Yes, Your Highness.
Man, dwarves
lo-
are dicks.
I love that nose.
It's pretty impressive.
I go where I want.
Your lack
Hell
of
with that.
sense of duty to your house is obvious. I can't imagine why you are receiving a commission.
Because my nose is bigger than yours.
Tomorrow, I'll spend much time apologizing to the heads of the noble houses for the deaths of their children.
That needs to be an option.
My nose is bigger than yours? That should be
Yes.
the only thing. My beard is also bigger than his.
And yet he's older.
Now then, you get to the
That's because he trims it. Like a sissy. Oh, kiss my
True.
ass.
advise you to watch that tongue, sibling.
Perfect.
Father will not live forever. Come, Balin.
I will say that the times when I haven't found a dialogue option that doesn't fit what I want,
Of course, my lord.
they're few and far between.
My lord, these are surfaces. Dyed with the finest of
Usually they I mean, and I guess that's the advantage of them not doing voice recording for everybody.
My lord, are you
Just-
heading to the proving arena?
Yes, I just
We have been charged with the task of escorting you to the proving grounds.
I clean forgot about
that guy's a
that.
fatty.
Forgive me, I should have informed you sooner. The king decided you were not to travel through the commons unguarded.
Yeah, I think he's been guarding the buffet a bit too much.
I did mention the merchants that won permits to show their goods in the dining
Also,
room
nice
there.
neckbeard.
There were only so many permits auctioned off, and quite a few were turned away. Your father fears you will be harassed on the way to the proving. I do not question.
There we go. You could have provided me with a more impressive entourage. It's not that I have to get an escort.
We are
It's
at your
that
command.
it's that I want a bigger one.
Or, you know, one that hasn't been chomping down on turkey legs rather than practicing.
Alexa, she's just got a little hair piece in there. Nothing messes up people's hair in this, I've noticed.
Yeah, that can get kind of weird at times.
I'm actually gonna check my items. I've got all these random things from, but nothing I can use now, apparently. Oh, except for that. Yeah, I'm just gonna put some of these. These are all like DLC and promotional items, and happily they're not so bad that they unbalance the game. But they do give you a bit of an edge.
Yeah. And frankly, it's kind of hard to unbalance it during the origins, which are designed to be a bit easier on you.
Alright.
I think for the most part, I didn't have trouble with my playthroughs until I got to Lothering. Which is kind of weird when you think about it.
Alright, let's talk to the Proving Master.
Your Highness, it is an honor to have you here. Have you
See if he'll let me
come to
fight.
watch these brave warriors do battle in your honor?
No, I've come to fight. See?
This proving is in your honor.
Then
And why
Arden
wouldn't
will
you?
be Doing as he says. My lord Iduken will fight in this proving.
Fine, Dwarven Prince.
I just need a good workout for the...
Well within your rights.
I mean, because you know what's awesome? Is just
We have a late
killing
to these
the
provings,
people who are...
held on the eve of battle for the honor of House
Technically,
We're
I
fighting
don't
for my honor.
believe these are fights to the
Iduken. I
death.
give you the Lord Iduken himself.
Really?
Mostly.
Really?
I believe they're technically supposed to be like blunted weapons.
Your first match.
Because you can talk to the people that you defeat.
Huh. Because
This is a glory proving.
I've gone through it before, and I wind up, you know, I use magic and
For the honor
all kinds of crazy stuff. And I mean, even now, I get to use my normal sword.
Yes.
Lord Iduken will fight, and then
Whenever something like that happens, a wizard did it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. That is the nice thing about a fantasy game. You just sort of hand wave it. I will honor you upside the head.
is vanquished. Fight.
I do love the writing for this. I mean, BioWare is really good for that. Okay, so this is our first combat, and I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just gonna see what kind of sword do I have. A crappy one. Okay. The neat thing about this is that you can either... Yes, this is me rearranging my taskbars. You can fight it as a a simple first-person sort of game, or you can go to town and bring it back in a tactical view like that. But for the most part, it involves a lot of auto-attacking.
Well, especially at the early parts where you just don't have a whole lot
Yeah,
of
I don't
skills.
have any powers right now except for Shield Bash.